Let's look at the legal basis for charging tax on income. What do they base on to charge tax on our income? Like it's not out of the blue, it must be authorized somewhere, written somewhere. Yeah, so the first legal basis is Articles 152, Part 1 of the Uganda Constitution. It provides that no tax shall be imposed except under the authority of an act of parliament. So the fact that income tax is imposed, it means that it is authorized by the act of parliament. So the first legal basis is the act of parliament. So it is the first legal basis. Hence, the Uganda Revenue Authority Act, Chapter 196, was put in place to provide the administrative framework in which taxes under various acts are collected. Uganda Revenue Authority administers the tax laws on behalf of the Ministry of Finance. Yeah, so here the main legal basis is Article 152, Part 1 of the Ugandan Constitution. Yeah. In Uganda, income tax is administered in accordance with the Income Tax Act, Chapter 340 of the laws of Uganda. Yeah. And other supplementary laws that may be relevant in the process of administering income tax include the following. We have the Tax Procedures Code Act 2014, Building Societies Act, Chapter 108, Diplomatic Privileges Act, Chapter 201, Income Tax Decree, which is the decree of January 1974, Investment Code Statute of January 1991, Local Government Acts, Chapter 243, Magistrates Court Act, Chapter 16. We have the Mining Act, Chapter 148. We have the Petroleum or Exploration and Production Act, Chapter 150. We have the Uganda Revenue Act, Chapter 196. And then we have the Tax Appeals Tribunal Act of 1997. So those are some of the taxes that supplement the laws in charging income tax or in administering income tax. Yeah, that supplement the main constitution of Uganda. Yeah, the primary legislation above are supplemented by secondary legislations, like they can also be supported by other legislations, for example, bylaws, and these are for the local governments, the decrees, the regulations, and then ordinances. Yeah. And the Income Tax Act, Section 164, empowers the minister responsible for finance to make rules that carry into effect various provisions of the Act. Yeah, and let's look at the examples that are relevant, some of the examples that are relevant for income tax administration purposes. We have the income tax, which is withholding tax regulation 2000. We have the income tax district rules, which is also for 2000. We have the income tax approved industrial buildings regulations 2003. Then we have the income tax designation of payers notes, which is 2012. We have the income tax incentives for exporters of finished consumer and capital goods regulations 2009. And lastly, we have the income tax transfer pricing regulations, which is for 2011. Yeah, so those are some of the legal basis, the things that they base on to charge income tax, the laws that they base on to charge income tax, and the provisions. But further guidance is also sought from case law. Case law, those are cases that already happened, the cases that happened long time. So if the tax cases of long time, they can be based on, to judge the tax cases of current. And the Income Tax Act does not define income for purposes of income tax. It only lists the various sources that fall under taxation. This therefore implies that not all incomes must necessarily be subject to taxation. It is therefore important to know which sources of income are subject to tax and therefore which ones are not taxable. And we shall be looking at those in the next videos. Then for the scope and imposition of income tax, the scope of charging income tax is explained by the definition of who a taxpayer is, and we shall look at the definition of a taxpayer in the next video, whereby we shall be looking at the key terms in income tax. So the scope of imposition of charging income tax is explained by the definition of who a taxpayer is for income tax purposes. And if you understand who, what, and when income tax is charged, you can be able to know the scope of imposition of income tax. So income tax is obliged to be charged on every person who has chargeable income in a given year of income. If you have chargeable income that they're supposed to charge, you pay income tax. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment. Let's catch up in my next video.